Kara Benson settled into the luxurious red seat, her heart still pounding from navigating the bustling concert hall. She let out a breath of relief, adjusting her blouse as the lights began to fade. She was in disbelief that she had secured such an amazing seat, right in the front row, dead center. It must have been an error, yet she wasn't inclined to challenge her fortune. As the initial chords of the grand piano resonated through the space, a low voice whispered next to her, causing Kara's stomach to plummet. She turned her head slowly, her gaze meeting the piercing, steel-blue eyes of the man looming above her. He stood tall, strikingly handsome, clad in a meticulously tailored black suit that exuded affluence. His chiseled jaw tightened just a fraction, yet an enigmatic quality lingered in his expression. "I believe there has been an error," Kara stammered, clutching the armrest tightly. "This is where I belong." The man raised an eyebrow, extracting a polished ticket from his pocket. "Row a seat 12 set aside just for him." Her heart raced as she searched for her ticket, but just as she was about to reveal it, an usher emerged, his expression one of shock. "Mr. Grayson, I sincerely apologize. It seems there has been a misunderstanding." Mr. Grayson, the name echoed in her mind, yet she was too flustered to pinpoint its origin. The man's eyes returned to her, and rather than insisting she depart, his lips sealed in contemplation. "It's perfectly all right," he replied with a calm demeanor. "She is welcome to remain." The usher blinked in astonishment, yet Kara was already dismissing the notion with a shake of her head. "No, I prefer not to take your seat. I am capable of movement." He settled into the chair next to her, one arm draped effortlessly over the back. "I firmly insist." She paused, yet the music enveloped them, compelling her to uncomfortably take a seat next to him. Who was this man, and what compelled him to allow her to remain when he undoubtedly possessed the authority to have her expelled? For the next hour, Kara attempted to immerse herself in the performance, yet she couldn't shake the acute awareness of the man sitting next to her. He radiated a calm assurance, his fingers rhythmically drumming against his knee, perfectly in sync with the melody. As the last note lingered, the crowd burst into enthusiastic applause. Kara glanced at him with a hint of hesitation. She expressed her gratitude gently. "Thank you for not making me move." He observed her intently for a brief moment before inclining his head ever so slightly. "Your presence suggested a strong desire to be here." Kara felt a rush of warmth spread across her cheeks. "I certainly did. Spent months saving up to buy a ticket. This is my inaugural experience witnessing them perform in person." A spark danced in his eyes. "You have a deep appreciation for music." She confessed her affection for it. "It's a getaway." His lips curled in a way that suggested she had captured his interest. "My name is Sebastian Grayson." The name finally resonated. Sebastian Grayson, the enigmatic millionaire investor, the man who possessed a significant portion of the downtown properties and was whispered to be a merciless entrepreneur. Kara consumed Kara Benson. He reached out with an open palm. She paused briefly before accepting it, his hold steady and comforting. "I'd like to buy you a drink," he said unexpectedly. She blinked slowly. "Excuse me, could you clarify that?" "A beverage. A secluded lounge awaits you on the upper floor." Kara paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. This was absolutely wild. She had inadvertently occupied his seat, and now he was eager to share a drink with her. Yet there was something in his unwavering gaze, his calm presence that rendered any refusal unthinkable. It was acceptable. Sebastian extended his hand once more. This time she agreed without a moment's pause. The exclusive lounge was a realm of its own, a sight that left Kara utterly captivated. Soft golden lighting enveloped the area, accentuating the luxurious velvet seating and the glass cases that showcased exquisite vintage wines. A magnificent chandelier loomed overhead, its fragile crystals casting light in a manner reminiscent of twinkling stars scattered across the night sky. A poised bartender lingered behind a refined mahogany bar, poised and ready for the next order. Sebastian led Kara to a hidden nook where a leather couch elegantly embraced a low marble table. He motioned for her to take a seat, then positioned himself next to her, his actions smooth and deliberate. "What would you like to drink?" he inquired, his tone fluid yet enigmatic. Kara paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. She found herself in unfamiliar territory, where the menus were devoid of prices and the atmosphere was infused with the scent of aged whiskey and a subtle elegance. "Impress me." A glimmer of approval danced across his face before he gestured to the bartender. Shortly thereafter, 2 crystal glasses materialized, brimming with an amber liquid that shimmered in the light. Kara lifted hers with care, the cool glass gliding smoothly beneath her fingertips. She took a sip, and warmth blossomed within her chest, enveloping her in a comforting embrace. "That's truly excellent." Sebastian observed her response intently. "That bottle costs more than what some people pay for rent." Kara almost choked. "You must be kidding." His lips formed a subtle arc, not entirely a smile, but something akin to it. "Whiskey is no laughing matter for me." She set the glass aside, a wave of discomfort washing over her. "I ought to take my leave before I make a fool of myself." Sebastian's gaze remained steady. "Why would you subject yourself to such embarrassment?" She waved her hand dismissively, taking in her surroundings. "Look at this place. I don't quite fit in here." For a moment he was silent. Then with calm assurance he responded, "You were meant to be in that concert hall. You are meant to be here." Kara felt a knot in her stomach. His words carried a weight, not merely as flattery, but with an unwavering conviction that he truly believed in what he was saying. Unsure of how to reply, she opted for another sip of the whiskey instead. Sebastian reclined, his arm draped casually over the back of the couch as he observed her intently. "Share with me, Kara, what made this evening so significant for you?" She paused, her fingers lightly grazing the edge of her glass. "Music has been a passion of mine since childhood, yet life often imposes its own constraints on such pleasures. I put in a lot of effort, and investing in something like this seemed somewhat indulgent." His expression deepened just a touch, the change so faint she nearly overlooked it. "Self-centered." She shrugged. "There are obligations to meet, duties to fulfill, and indulging in something simply for the sake of passion seems unwarranted." Sebastian paused for a moment, then softly said, "That's a dreadful way to exist." Kara frowned. "It feels authentic." He leaned forward just a bit, exuding a commanding presence. "Realism isn't about lacking enjoyment. What's the purpose of hard work if you never allow yourself to savor the fruits of your labor?" She began to speak in protest but hesitated, as no one had ever framed it quite like that before. Sebastian grasped his glass, swirling the liquid with a contemplative air. "Tell me about your job," he inquired. Kara breathed out, relieved by the change in subject. "I'm in the marketing field. It may not be glamorous, but it certainly covers the expenses." "Are you finding pleasure in it?" She paused. "I don't dislike it." His keen eyes swept across her. That wasn't a response. Kara chuckled gently. "You really don't let things go, do you?" "Only when they capture my attention." Her breath hitched at his words, yet she brushed aside the emotions they stirred within her. "It's adequate, it's consistent, but I don't believe it's what truly drives me." Sebastian nodded slowly, as if deep in thought, then suddenly asked, "Do you play?" She blinked. "A performance, what?" "A melody." The question sent a jolt through her. "I used to play the piano, but it's been years." "What made you pause?" She paused, her gaze fixed on her glass, echoing the very reason I nearly skipped tonight. Life had its way of intervening. Sebastian took his time before responding. When he finally spoke, his words were measured and intentional, expressing a sense of regret. Kara felt an inexplicable tension in her chest as his words lingered in the air. She willed herself to dispel the sensation. "How about you? It's clear that you have a passion for music as well." A flicker appeared in his expression, something cautious, and I value that. That didn't provide a response. Before she could delve deeper, a staff member quietly approached, murmuring something to Sebastian, and whatever was conveyed caused his jaw to tighten just a bit. He glanced back at Kara, saying, "I need to take a moment away." She nodded, attempting to suppress the disappointment that flickered within her. Naturally. He paused for just a moment before ultimately rising, urging, "Don't go just yet." It was not a request. As he vanished into the lounge's secluded corridor, Kara let out a slow breath, her thoughts swirling in a tempest of uncertainty. She arrived at the concert with the anticipation of experiencing something truly remarkable. Instead, she found herself beside a man who resembled a tempest wrapped in a meticulously crafted suit, serene on the outside yet brimming with fervor within. For reasons beyond her comprehension, he appeared to take an interest in her. She gazed into the deep amber liquid swirling in her glass, Sebastian's words resonating in her thoughts. "You were meant to be in that concert hall, you are meant to be here." She was uncertain of his correctness, yet for the first time in ages, a flicker of hope urged her to embrace the possibility. Kara ran her fingers along the edge of her glass, her mind swirling with the unforeseen twists the evening had taken. The dialogue with Sebastian echoed in her thoughts, his phrases weighing heavily on a hidden part of her being. She had always perceived passion as a privilege, reserved for those fortunate enough to pursue it. Yet, the intensity of his gaze and the conviction in his voice as he declared her place in this world caused her to reevaluate all that she had taken for granted. The soft murmur of chatter enveloped the lounge, yet none of it penetrated the mind. She was still grappling with the perplexing notion of why someone like Sebastian Grayson would find her intriguing in the first place. He exuded strength and poise, moving through life with the confidence of one who had never doubted his role in the grand tapestry of existence. And yet he had paused to inquire about her life, to absorb her responses as if they held genuine significance. Just as she was about to drift deeper into her musings, a flicker of motion in her peripheral vision drew her focus. Sebastian approached, his face a mask of mystery, each step deliberate and confident. He settled back into the seat next to her, his presence once more asserting itself in the space that separated them. "Apologies for the interruption," he stated, though his posture hinted that the situation had been rather uncomfortable. She thought about inquiring, yet a sense whispered to her that he would remain silent if he chose not to respond. Instead, she locked eyes with him. "Your return wasn't necessary." He tilted his head just a bit, a hint of amusement dancing in his expression. "Were you hoping I would go?" She paused, uncertain. "Excellent," he replied succinctly. His gaze enveloped her, rendering her unable to break free from its hold. He observed her with a fervor, as though he were attempting to unravel a hidden mystery. The quiet that enveloped them was not awkward. It shimmered with an unarticulated tension. At last, he inclined his body, placing his forearms upon his knees. "I have an idea to share with you." Kara offered a suggestion with a glance. He nodded, his expression thoughtfully composed. "It seems you haven't touched the piano in quite some time." Her brow furrowed, uncertainty clouding her thoughts about the direction of this unfolding situation. "Indeed, I want you to play again," he said, "and I want to be the one to bring that to life." She gazed at him, convinced she must have misunderstood. "What is happening?" he continued, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, saying that he had a grand piano in his penthouse. "And I want you to experience it, free from expectations or obligations, just you, the melody, and the moments to reflect on why it held significance for you initially." Her heartbeat quickened. "What would compel you to take such an action?" His gaze remained steady, "For I am capable." She released a breathless laugh, her head shaking in disbelief. "That doesn't address the question." He breathed out, his expression changing not to one of softness, but to one of less defensiveness. "For I understand the experience of releasing something dear, and I recognize the extent of oneself that diminishes in the process." There was a quality in his voice that caused her heart to constrict. His statement held deeper implications, yet she chose not to press further. Instead, she sought to understand the essence of his proposal. "This is absolutely unbelievable," she whispered. "Could it be?" He responded. "You found yourself in my seat tonight by chance. Perhaps that was no accident after all." She gazed at him, sensing the gravity of the moment hanging in the air between them. For years, she had woven a tapestry of denial around herself, convincing her heart that music was merely a distant dream from another existence. Yet now, this man, an enigma, yet somehow familiar, stood before her, extending an unexpected opportunity to reclaim what she thought was lost. It was foolish, it was ridiculous. And yet, she felt an undeniable urge to agree. She swallowed hard. I barely know you at all. Sebastian reclined, his demeanor calm, then invited me to learn more about him. The challenge in his voice sent a thrill coursing through her. After an extended period, she felt a stirring desire to embrace uncertainty. Kara emerged from the car, her breath hitching as she gazed up at the imposing glass facade of the penthouse building looming before her. The urban glow shimmered against its polished surface, reaching out infinitely into the dark expanse above. She had anticipated opulence, yet this was an entirely different experience. Sebastian stood beside her, his presence unwavering and calm, as though this was the most ordinary occurrence imaginable. He guided her to the secluded entrance, exchanging a quiet nod with the doorman who allowed them swift entry. The atmosphere within was sharp, imbued with a subtle aroma of something luxurious and opulent. Dark marble extended beneath their feet as the elevator doors glided open silently. Kara entered, a sense of eager expectation pressing against her heart. She had consented to enter his realm, to explore whatever this connection was between them. But now that she found herself in this place, she couldn't dispel the sensation that she stood on the brink of something irrevocable. The ascent was quiet, with only the gentle murmur of the elevator breaking the stillness. Sebastian lingered nearby, his aura captivating, drawing her in effortlessly without any physical contact. As the doors swung wide, she found herself utterly breathless. The penthouse was absolutely stunning. Expansive windows reached from floor to ceiling, showcasing the dazzling skyline. The city sprawling below like a vibrant, pulsating organism. The atmosphere was contemporary, yet inviting. Rich wooden tones harmonized with the polished metal details, while the gentle illumination enveloped the space in a warm, golden light. At the heart of the scene, framed by expansive windows, rested a magnificent grand piano. Kara found herself moving forward, her feet propelling her ahead before she even registered the motion. The instrument was a stunning piece of polished ebony, its surface shimmering softly in the low light. She extended her hand, fingertips poised delicately over the keys, her heart racing with anticipation. Sebastian observed her, his expression a mystery as she played. Her throat constricted, and uncertainty clouded her mind. He moved in, his voice barely above a whisper, then discover. She took a deep breath, easing herself down onto the bench. The smooth texture under her fingertips elicited a delightful shiver that danced along her spine. Her hands quivered ever so slightly as she pressed down on the first key. A solitary note echoed with a deep, vibrant tone that enveloped the surroundings. A profound sensation awakened within her. In a moment of instinct, her fingers danced across the keys, conjuring a melody that had long been dormant within her. The initial notes wavered, lacking consistency, but soon the rhythm of familiarity emerged. The melody rose, enveloping the space around them, obliterating all distractions. She had lost touch with this sensation, the lightness, the pure, unrestrained feeling that emerged from bringing something so authentic into existence. It felt like a release, a long-awaited exhale after an unbearable pause. As she came to a halt, the final note hung in the stillness, and she became aware of her trembling hands. Sebastian observed her, an intense fire flickering in his eyes. That, he whispered, is what you were destined to accomplish. Her chest tightened. It was merely a song. No, he gave a subtle shake of his head. It's you. She averted her gaze, engulfed by the weight of his truth. No one had ever witnessed her in this light, not as a figure of practicality or responsibility, but as a being capable of conjuring something truly beautiful. Sebastian moved nearer, his aura enveloping her as if it were an invisible barrier. Stay, he said, the word a gentle invitation rather than a directive. She glanced over her shoulder at him, her heart racing. What is the reason behind your actions? His jaw clenched just a bit, as though he was contemplating his response. I hold on to what truly matters. The way he articulated his words sent a ripple of unease through her gut. He was referring to more than just her music. In that moment, without a moment's hesitation, she bridged the distance that lay between them. It was spontaneous, it lacked precision. It was a tug, a certainty that could not be ignored. Their lips connected, and everything around them shifted. Sebastian reacted without hesitation, his hold steady as his hands cupped her face. The kiss began slowly, with intention, as though he were committing the contours of her lips to memory. Then he intensified it, his restraint loosening just enough for her to sense the tempest lurking beneath his calm facade. Kara's fingers gripped the fabric of his shirt, grounding herself as warmth surged within her. He had the flavor of whiskey, mingled with an enigmatic essence that eluded her grasp, yet lingered in her memory, unforgettable. As they finally separated, gasping for air, he leaned his forehead gently against hers. Everything is about to change, he whispered. She swallowed hard. You are too. And in some way she sensed that they had indeed. Kara's heart raced as she stepped back, attempting to regain her composure after the kiss that had upended all her expectations for the evening, for Sebastian, and for her own self. His touch remained, an indelible mark on her skin, his breath a gentle warmth against her cheek. Sebastian hesitated, remaining still for a moment. He remained in place, observing her, his face a mask of mystery, while his eyes shimmered with an intensity she couldn't quite identify. She craved a breath of space, a pause to reflect. She faced the expansive windows, her fingers gently pressing against the cool glass as she gazed down at the bustling city beneath her. The illumination extended infinitely, a shimmering expanse of potential and ambiguity. In that moment, she realized the profound transformation her world had undergone in merely a handful of hours. Sebastian positioned himself just behind her, near yet maintaining a respectful distance. His presence alone was sufficient to send another shiver coursing down her spine. You're overthinking it, he whispered. She exhaled softly, struggling to suppress a smile, and your thoughts seemed to vanish entirely. His image in the glass revealed the subtle angle of his head as he pondered her words. I stand firm in my desires. She pivoted to face him completely. And what is it that you desire? His eyes locked onto hers, steadfast and unyielding. Me. Her breath hitched. He spoke with weight, not as if it were a fleeting notion. It was a declaration, unmistakable and intentional, as though he had reached a conclusion long before. Kara's heart raced. You have no idea who I am. A glimmer of an inscrutable emotion danced in his gaze. I possess sufficient knowledge. That response ought to have unsettled her. It ought to have caused her to hesitate, to doubt his confidence, yet instead it enveloped her in a comforting warmth, the sort that urged her to draw closer rather than retreat. She took a deep breath. Sebastian, this situation feels like it's progressing too quickly. He observed her intently, then offered a deliberate nod, as though he acknowledged her uncertainty. Please let me know what you require. She was taken by surprise. There was no demand, no pressure, merely a serene invitation for her to determine the rhythm. I need to understand what this is, she admitted, gesturing around them at the penthouse. The view, the life he clearly led. You are who you are and I am merely existing. His brows knitted together just a bit. What exactly? She paused for a moment, then let out a breath. A person who dedicated her entire existence to being accountable, striving to make the correct decisions, and now I find myself uncertain if this is one of those choices. Sebastian paused, his silence stretching between them, before he took her hand, his grip a blend of strength and tenderness. So, let's discover what lies ahead. Kara felt a twist in her stomach, and if it's not. His thumb glided softly over the back of her hand, ensuring that we wouldn't be left to ponder for the rest of our lives. Once more, that unwavering conviction emerged in his words, as if uncertainty was a foreign concept to him. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, she had dedicated too much of her existence to caution. She breathed out, gazing up at him. All right? His fingers curled around hers with a gentle grip, just enough to convey understanding. She nodded, eager to discover the truth. For the first time that night, the tension in his expression melted away, giving way to a gentler emotion. Good, he murmured, and in that moment, Kara sensed that this was merely the start of something much larger. Kara stirred from her slumber, the soft patter of rain serenading her as it danced against the expansive windows that reached from floor to ceiling. For a fleeting instant, she felt a wave of confusion wash over her, the opulent surroundings of the penthouse enveloping her senses as she luxuriated beneath the plush sheets. The memories of the night before flooded her mind. The music, the kiss, the calm assurance in Sebastian's voice as he suggested they explore where this journey might take them. She turned her head, anticipating his presence beside her, but the space lay vacant. With determination, she pushed herself upright, enveloping herself in the sheet as she stood and moved quietly toward the open living area. The city unfolded beyond the glass, illuminated by the gentle embrace of the early morning light, and there, poised near the piano, was Sebastian. He wore dark slacks paired with a crisp white shirt, the top buttons casually undone. His eyes were locked onto the scenery, yet his stance was rigid, as though an unseen burden pressed upon him. Kara paused for a moment, then moved in closer. "You've risen with the dawn." He pivoted at the sound of her voice, his expression momentarily inscrutable before it softened. "Indeed, you are as well." She cast her eyes toward the piano, the echoes of last night's melodies lingering vividly in her thoughts. "Rest eluded me." Sebastian observed her intently for a moment, then let out a breath. "I have something important to share with you." Her stomach nodded. "That seems foreboding." He took his time to reply. He made his way to the kitchen, filling 2 cups with coffee and offering one to her. She accepted it with caution, her gaze fixed on him intently. "It wasn't solely the music that drew me to bring you here," he confessed. "That was a piece of the puzzle. Yet there's so much more to uncover." Kara encircled her fingers around the comforting ceramic, preparing herself. "So go ahead and share." Sebastian's jaw clenched subtly as he locked eyes with her. "I guard my heart closely, not out of a lack of desire, but because I've witnessed the consequences of misplaced trust." Her brow furrowed in discontent. "Sebastian, my family," he continued, his voice now softer, "was constructed on control and expectations. I grew up with the notion that showing feelings was a sign of vulnerability. That strength was all-consuming." Kara felt a pang in her chest at the intensity of his voice. He reflected on the years he dedicated to establishing his own path, acknowledging the sacrifices made along the way. "Individuals overlook my true self. Instead, they focus on what I can provide or accomplish for them." She placed the coffee on the counter and moved in closer. "Is that truly what you believe I perceive?" His eyes clouded with intensity. "Absolutely not, and that's precisely what fills me with dread." Kara's breath caught in her throat. "What is the reason behind this?" "Your presence ignites a desire within me for something I once believed was unattainable." His voice carried a deep, gritty sincerity, a touch of authenticity. Her heart raced with intensity. He confessed that he was unsure how to proceed. "I feel uncertain about how to become what you truly deserve." Kara extended her hand towards him. "Sebastian, I arrived not in search of perfection, but rather to understand the person behind it all." She pointed towards the penthouse, the opulence, the meticulously curated facade he showcased to everyone. His grip on her hand grew firmer. "All I require to understand," she went on, "is whether you're open to giving it a shot." Sebastian let out a breath, a change flickering across his face, revealing a moment of vulnerability, an unshielded glimpse into his soul. "I exist." Relief washed over her, and in a moment of spontaneity, she leaned in, gently pressing her lips against his. He reacted without hesitation, his hold steady at her waist as he drew her nearer, intensifying the kiss. As they finally separated, he leaned his forehead gently against hers. "Remain." She smiled. "I had already taken care of it." Time slipped away in a haze of midnight talks, fleeting encounters, and a romance that grew richer with each passing day. Kara had anticipated uncertainties and challenges, yet what she encountered was something unwavering and irrefutable. Sebastian not only honored his promise but also demonstrated it through countless little gestures that conveyed his sincerity. He absorbed her words as she shared her aspirations, offered support during her moments of doubt, and remained by her side as she rediscovered the essence of pursuing music, transforming it from a mere recollection into a tangible reality. In response, she noticed the fissures in his meticulously built defenses, the subtle gestures that allowed her to enter his world. One evening, while meandering through a hidden garden in the city, Sebastian came to an abrupt halt. Kara glanced at him, intrigued. "What is it?" He delved into his pocket, retrieving a delicate velvet box. Her breath hitched. "I never planned for this," he admitted, his voice unwavering yet laced with an undeniable intensity. "But then you came into my life, and now I can't envision a world without your presence." Kara's eyes shimmered with emotion as he knelt down, unveiling the exquisite ring from the box. "I love you," he said plainly, "and I don't want another day to go by without you understanding that I desire eternity with you." She nodded yes, as tears streamed down her cheeks. Sebastian gently placed the ring on her finger, then enveloped her in his embrace, their lips meeting in a kiss that solidified their bond. The urban glow sparkled in the background, yet Kara's gaze was solely fixed on him. For the first time in her life, she found herself not merely pursuing a dream. She had discovered it.